Hey everyone. Can you guys hear me? Cool. Yeah, I don't know why. I was just kind of feeling like trying out a live stream. I have not done one before on this channel. I haven't done one in years. Like during COVID, I did a couple on Twitch, but I've never done one on YouTube. And I was going to sit here at my desk and work on this diorama. And I thought, why not just go live? Oh, nice. Master grade Sazabi. Very cool. The Verka or the original? So I'm just pretty much gonna get started, just building stuff, and then I'll just check in on the chat every once in a while and see what you're saying and chat with you all. But yeah, I'm pretty much just gonna be building this. Let's see if I can. This entry grade RX 78, and I have this little like platform going on, and this is the part that I'm going to be working on. So right now I've cut out a few pieces of foam, and what I'm going to do is probably put some milliput over it, which I have here, just some extra milliput, and then I'm going to paint it with this AK concrete texture. I also have one that's called like rough terrain, which is supposed to be dirt, and I kind of want this to look like dirt, but I find the rough terrain looks a little bit too rough and fake, so I'm going to try using a concrete one, which I really like. And I'm going to fill all this in, and then I'm going to either do some sort of like brown dirt or desert. I'm not totally sure yet, but I know I don't want it to be gray because I've done like gray space rocks a bunch before. So the way I've built it, so the way I built it is I just cut out this little square of plot plate. And so that's going to let me build on this. And then at the end, I'm going to be able to put it on this wooden block. So that way I won't have to worry about like getting paint on the nice finished wood base or anything like that. So pretty much just this little tiny diorama. It's a very small one. But yeah, I really like just having a little base to put the kit on. So it's not just kind of like floating in space. So yeah, just a little tiny base, not really like a full diorama, but yeah, that's the background. Hi, Elio. Hi, Buckwild. Christian Knight. Excited for this weekend. Going to be building the Wing TV version master grade. I love the Wing TV version. I have the old school high grade 1/100, and it's a really cool kit. 1144 need a diorama. Yeah, I feel like 1144 Geek Eric. I feel like those smaller kits. I think they do really well with dioramas. It just kind of fleshes them out a little bit. Leo says, hey there, great to see how quickly you went from just being interested in Gunpla to being an ace in dioramas, and well done aesthetic build. Thank you, Leo. I don't think I'm an ace yet. I think I'm okay. F1 Nest 1 says, is it okay to clear coat inside? It depends if you're using acrylic or spray cans or lacquers. If you're using acrylic, it's totally fine to clear coat inside. I do it all the time. I use Vallejo, the Mecha Color, the gloss, and the matte varnish. Hey, Gundam Explained, what's up? All right, so I gotta get started actually doing something. And of course, you guys know I have my Hobby Japans here with my inspo, my reference material. I'm just gonna kind of put these to the side. And then I also have a couple extra pieces of just pink foam that I might break up into small bits and have like little rocks. And then at the end, I'll texture these and everything. And then at the end, I'll just kind of put some finishing touches with a few little rocks in the background. Christian Knight, any plans going back to Japan? Yes. Always planning about going back to Japan. I really want to go back soon. Hopefully, I mean, it would be amazing to go within the next 12 months. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love to go. And I really want to spend a lot of time in Osaka. I want to go back to Tokyo too, like kind of where I was living. And I don't know, after living there, like, and walking down the same street every day, I'm kind of weirdly nostalgic for the certain like block that I lived on. So I want to check that out again, but I really want to go to Osaka and check out all of the like video game shops and model kit shops and all that stuff, because I feel like Osaka is a little bit more unexplored than Tokyo. Certainly there's far less people on YouTube talking about Osaka. So Leviathan Prime, absolutely agree with you. You absolutely want to wear a respirator if you're using any of those kinds of paints. This is not a masterclass, Leo. Hey, Pixel Game Squad. What's up? All right, so I actually have to start this. So I think what I'm going to do first is take some CA glue. In my case, I actually have hobby store CA glue, but I'm just going to use old-fashioned crazy glue because I really like the applicator. And right now I had these little pieces down with just a little bit of blue tack, but I'm going to take that off and I'm going to glue them down before I do the milliput. And I realize that you guys can't really, I'll try my best to keep everything on camera, but I realize that when I put my stuff down here, you guys can't really see it. So apologies for that. This is kind of like an ad hoc setup. Like I said, I don't know. I was just kind of like, hey, yeah, let's go live. Let's see what it's like. Let's see if people even like show up or want to chat or anything like that. And then if it goes well, I think maybe I can work on getting a better like live setup. I would love to do something with multiple cameras. So I've got like my face in the corner and then a top down of what my hands are doing on the desk. I think that would be like the end game for Gunpla live streaming. Leo, I wouldn't return to Tokyo, maybe just for one day for some shopping. Too many tourists, too many people. Yeah, I feel that way, Leo. Tokyo is really crazy with tourists these days. Even since like the first time I went to Japan in 2019, it was totally different this year or last year, now that it's 2025. So yeah, if anyone is curious, I'm using pink foam insulation. It's really easy to work with, and it cuts nice if you have a hot foam cutter. That's also something you're definitely going to want to do outside or with a respirator. I mean, I wouldn't even do it inside with a respirator. I've done it, and it takes a really long time for the smell to dissipate, but it cuts beautifully. It kind of melts and really looks like natural rocks. It's pretty cool. So I'd be curious in terms of live streams, what you guys would be interested in doing. I mean, I also would love to do something in the future. Maybe like playing games on stream, obviously building stuff. But I'd be curious what you are all interested in seeing. Leo, I totally feel that, what you're saying. There's usually a big gap in most build videos where the edit goes from very basic, like cut the pieces, build the thing, and then there's 2 to 3 cuts, and then painting process, and then, yeah, like the amazing build is shown. I really try to not do that. I'm actually working on a build video for this build. So I recorded myself airbrushing it, doing all the weathering and all of that stuff. And I made a few mistakes. I did a few things that didn't work out. And I'm kind of making a point to include those in the video because I agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of people just like show the successes and they don't really like show things getting kind of messed up or things not panning out well. So I want to create a holistic picture of what it's like when I work on kits, which is like it's not always perfect and like a seamless experience. There's a lot of trial and error. Like a hair in my mouth. Was there a time where you felt that you had way too many kits and that you had to sell some of them? You mean like right now? I definitely feel like I have too many kits, but it's more like for my space, like the amount of space I have. I have a really small apartment. But I think compared to other people's backlogs, I don't think my backlog is too crazy. And I think I make a really good point of just like snap building stuff. I think it's okay to snap build stuff. And I used to think like every kit I bought, I had this like amazing vision for, and I was going to do this crazy custom build and all that stuff. And I've kind of let that go a little bit and just accepted that there's only like so much time and some of the stuff's just going to have to be snap build, and you get to put it together and check out the engineering and the artistry that went into it. And, you know, now I can kind of just have like a little snap build shelf. And then for those kits I feel really, really strongly about, I'll go ahead and like customize those and paint those. Geek Eric says, I love the thought process during the build. Yeah, the thought process is probably one of the most fun parts. I think, let me see if I can adjust this so you guys can see a little bit more. Yeah, I think, let me just mix up this Millie putt really quick and then I'm gonna respond. This is the last of this Milliput. So if you guys haven't worked with Milliput before, it's like a basic epoxy putty, and you just mix the two parts together, and then it hardens over the next like 24 hours or so. And this is the last of the Milliput that I have in my apartment. So I'm gonna have to go buy some more probably. But yeah, like you were saying, the thought process, yes, I think we can all probably relate to just looking at photos of kits and like dreaming up all the coolest kit bashes and things like that. And, you know, looking on like Modelers G or Pinterest or Instagram and looking at other people's dioramas and thinking like, I'm going to take, this part from that one and this part from that one. You kind of dream it up in your head. That part is definitely really fun. Levathian Prime says, it's hard to try recording the tedious bits because most people would rather watch paint dry. And recording a true experimental process is not often done. Yes, I agree with that. I mention his channel a lot in my videos, but I really like Henry McClellan for that reason. He's definitely from like a more old school era of YouTube, but in his videos, he does just kind of record the process. There's a lot of clips of him just like airbrushing silently. It's kind of more low key, and then he cuts to talking about the thought process behind it. But it's really cool getting to see like a really his videos are edited, but it's much more unedited than like a lot of modern gunplay YouTubers. Sano72 says, do you have a favorite Gundam to build? Favorite Gundam to build is the one that I'm building right now. So whichever one I'm working on currently is usually my favorite. Donkus says, I like your commentary when you can spot a kit that you never see online. I don't want to go to Japan and buy something I can just get online. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's like one of the big fun things about shopping in Japan is finding like weird little oddities that you can't find on eBay or Surugaya or Yahoo auctions, like things that are just like really so obscure. Christian Knight says, by the way, really love that video where you have built the old Master Grade Sazabi. I'm really having a hard time tracking one down. Same with the old Master Grade New Gundam. Yeah, I love that old school Master Grade Sazabi. It's not even like that old school. It's from 2000, which I guess is now like 25 years ago. So I guess that's pretty old school, but it's such a good kit. So now I'm going to start just taking this Milliput and kind of just working it into some of these transitions and kind of creating like a little organic scene here. But what I was going to say is I think they just reprinted the High New Gundam, the old version of that, and I think that's super cool. But I would love to see like the original New Gundam as well. Leo says, controversial thing I like to do. I matte coat plated kits, like the Hyakushiki special coating version without paint. You can make them look like the Hyakushiki 2.0. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. So I used to matte coat everything, just flat out matte coat, and then I did one build a few builds back that I left kind of semi-gloss. And I really, really like the way metallics look when you keep the gloss on them. And then for my GBWC builds from last year, the Rick Dom 2, I had everything gloss before I did my final matte coat. And I masked out all the metallics and I kept them gloss while keeping everything else matte, and I really liked how that looked. Like, I think metallics can look kind of interesting matte, but I don't know, lately, I really like how they look gloss. Gay Frog Expert says, "I'd love to see a Master Grade 1.5 Sazabi in New Gundam." Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, I'd love like a 1.5 or a 2.0 of the like TV version of the Sazabi or whatever you want to call it. So I'm just kind of like working in these transitions between where the foam becomes like ploplate. So that way when I go ahead and I add paint, this concrete texture, which I'm going to do, like, it's going to be a pretty thick like coat of paint. It's just going to be a little bit more organic. Christian Knight says, the old New Gundam Master Grade proportions are kind of wonky, but I still love it. I'm definitely with you. I love wonky proportions. I think they're fun. And yeah, I just think they're fun and unique. And I think they add a lot of character. Mappo says, then you get kids to bash and they don't fit how you imagined. Yeah, that's always hard, right? That was kind of like I don't know if like rude awakening is the right phrase, but I had planned on like doing a mashup of the old Gerber Tetra with the new high grade and like taking joints from it. And I was like, yeah, I'll just combine these. And the joint systems were just like not compatible at all. And that was definitely like a wake up call. I was like, oh, basically, if I'm going to do this, I have to completely gut everything down to the shell and like build my own custom inner frame. It's kit bashing can be pretty crazy, especially if you're doing vintage kits. I think with modern high grades where they all kind of use the same like build format, it's a little bit more simple. But with older kits, like you never know what kind of like size pegs they're going to be using and things like that. Leviathan Prime says a satin finish over metallics gives a good ionized look. Yeah, it definitely does. It can give you like a really cool kind of like brushed seal effect. The Master Grade Sazabi new 1.0's proportions match up pretty closely to how they actually appear in Char's counterattack. Yeah, I agree with that. Metal builds are now using that glossy paint look you mentioned. Doesn't look plastic at all. It looks like painted metal. Yeah, I completely agree. I think when you get a good gloss coat over metal, it can look really authentic. And this one, of course, I did a matte coat, but you can see I also do some like, that's not really pre-shading, but just shading on like the weapons and just metallics. And if you combine shading on metallics with a gloss coat, you get a really, really super convincing metallic look. Senor says, how much investment and years of practice would you say you've made to get your skills to your current level? I know my peak will only ever be panel lines, decals, markers, and top coat. I honestly haven't put... So I'll say like, it's not about years of practice. It's definitely just about hours. And I think I've only been doing it seriously for about like 3 years or so. But 3 years for one person is totally different than 3 years for another person. In that 3 years, there were definitely a lot of just, like, really long build sessions where I'm just going at it for, like, hours and hours and hours and watching tons of YouTube videos and looking at tons of Hobby Japan magazines and researching things, and then, like, finding a local build group and asking people in person how to do different things, which honestly was, I think, one of the reasons like, my skill increased pretty quickly is because I had a local community of people, and I could be like, "Hey, I tried scribing and this isn't working," and, um, getting tips from somebody in real life, like, being able to show them, like, with your hands, like, "This is how I'm scribing," and then they're like, "Oh, no, 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 you wanna try doing it like this," is so much easier and more effective than just trying to read somebody's description of how to do something, like, on Reddit or something like that. So, yeah, if you can find people in real life who can teach you or give you tips, I would highly recommend that. Christian Knight says, thoughts on G-Quacks? I kind of hate the design, respectfully. Um, I am kind of, my initial reaction was I don't like this. It's grown on me a little bit, and I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic, let's say. See if I can move this over here so you guys can see. I'm doing a lot of chatting and not a lot of building. The nice thing about working with this Milliput is um, it has a pretty long cure time, so you don't have to worry too much about it, drying instantly. That can also be a bad thing if you want your, build to move quickly. Because for this, I'm probably going to have to wait until tomorrow to paint it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I can like bust out the hairdryer and get it to cure a little bit more quickly. I don't know. I wonder if I can paint it before it's fully cured. I wonder. I've never tried to do that before with Milliput because usually I sand it. But I'll have to look that up. If anybody knows, can you paint Milliput for a diorama or something like that without it fully being cured? Definitely let me know. Levathian Prime says, never assume you've peaked. I completely agree with that. I think you can only ever improve and get better. And I think everybody has the potential to get good at anything if they put in enough time and effort. Geek Eric says, I think you need to wreck a couple of kits trying stuff to get better. I completely agree. Completely agree. And what I always tell people is practice on something that you don't care about, like not the most expensive, like master grade that was your dream kit or a perfect grade or even like a high grade. I learned how to paint on SD kits because they're really cheap. They're really simple to build. So most of your time, the build for an SD kit can take like 15 minutes, right? 30 minutes. So you snap it together, you do your sanding, and like, boom, you're off to painting. It's a really great way to get your painting skills up. But my point was that I did a really poor job on a lot of those SD kits as I was learning painting, and I made a lot of mistakes. Silent Running says, hey, do you ever use any of the proxy shipping services out there to buy models from Japan? I do all the time. I use Bai, which has gotten a little bit more expensive lately, so I haven't used them as much, but I still use them sometimes. And I use Suragaya with free shipping, like too much. Like I buy too much stuff from Suragaya. Suragaya is not really a proxy service, but you can get a lot of the same stuff that you can get on those proxy services for way cheaper since they have free shipping. Ragnarok says, any interest in other kinds of models such as cars, armor, airplanes, or figures? Yes, actually, let me grab something real quick. So I actually have these two Phantasy Star Online figure model kits. If you guys don't know, Phantasy Star Online is like one of my favorite games of all time. It's hard for me to say like my favorite game of all time because the top few like shuffle around. But let's just say it's my favorite game of all time. And I want to do a diorama that's like the forest level. If you've ever played Phantasy Star Online, it's the first level in the game. The forest level, I want to do a diorama with like some item boxes and things like that. I think it'll be so cool. So I started snapping this pink one together, but I still need to work on this other one. So yes, I will do a lot of non-Gunpla stuff in the future. I also bought this in Japan. This is a little model kit of like a little Japanese shop. And I really want to make a little diorama of this as well. I might actually do it for my next build. Like, now that I'm thinking of it, I'm looking at the box art and I'm like, this is so cool. It's just like a really simple little model kit, but yeah, I definitely want to do more non-Gunpla stuff. TV Solace says hello from Panama. Hello. Thank you for coming and hanging out in the chat. Jeremiah says, did you ever build the O? It has most impressive design, in my opinion. I want to build high grade firstly. Yes, Jeremiah, I did a custom version of the O. I made some minor modifications to it, and I did a custom paint scheme. If you check out my Instagram, pixelies_world, I have some pictures of that custom high grade the O there. And I think I also did a video on my Vintage Gunpla channel about that high grade the O, going into the build and all that stuff. So definitely feel free to check that out as well. Momo Monster says 100% Milliput Zaku when? I actually really want to do some 100% Milliput stuff. I actually did a test. I'll show you guys. I think I have it over here in one sec. Sorry, I keep leaving. Yeah, just to see what was possible, I made like a little test. This is like not great. I was just like goofy. Oh my god, I just dropped it. Hold on. Didn't break. I made this little like Kirby with like a little warp star out of 100% Milliput. It's not really good, but I just wanted to see like how it hardened, if it would stick together well and all that stuff. And yeah, it did. So this makes me want to do like more Milliput figures. I want to do Chow's from Sonic Adventure really bad because I freaking love Sonic Adventure. Corn Film says, I agree that community is such a huge part. Started airbrushing because of friends. Also visited my parents over the holiday and went to the shop where you entered your Rickdom. Such a great place. Yeah, that's an awesome hobby town for sure. Senor says, I personally realized I enjoy the building and customizing process more than full-on painting. I came to Gunpla after Warhammer. That's interesting. I'm the opposite. I think my favorite part is definitely painting, but my second favorite part is probably the thought process we were talking about earlier in the stream, like dreaming up what you want to do and kind of like figuring out how it's going to work. That's really fun to me. My least favorite part is definitely like puttying and doing seam line removal and sanding. Leo says, Japanese question. I have invested about 5 years to get an N2-ish level, 100% fully remote. Was that Japanese Academy a good differentiator or accelerator? Yes, it was. Going to a Japanese language school in Japan definitely boosted my Japanese really, really quick, but it was really brutal. It was super difficult. It was the most difficult school, like school, whatever, that I'd ever done in my life. It was more difficult than like high school or college or anything else. Just the Japanese school system, even when it's a completely elective like language academy, is like crazy difficult. Like I was giving presentations, I was writing essays, tons of testing. It was really challenging, but my Japanese shot up like super quick. Christian says, I wish Bandai would dish out more master grades. Right now we only have the Vidar for this year. Yeah, I definitely miss seeing new master grades as well. Momo says Phantasy Star Online. Yes, Phantasy Star Online is the best. Viximus Maximus says, you mentioned the Hobby Japan issues being cheap on Suragaya, and I got a couple with my last order, which basically doubled the weight of the box. Yeah. So I don't know how Suragaya does free shipping with those Hobby Japan magazines, and oftentimes, like, I'm not even kidding, I feel like guilty because they'll do a free shipping sale and I'll just fill up like a huge box with just Hobby Japan magazines, and it must cost them so much money to ship it to me, and they charge me like between like $3 and like, I say $3 to $5, but sometimes I buy more expensive Hobby Japans that are like a little more uncommon. But even so, it's like they must be losing money when they send me stuff. Ragnarok says, I remember PSO on the Dreamcast. Yes, I played PSO on the Dreamcast and on the GameCube. And on the PC a little bit too when Blue Burst came out. Christian says, I love that Dagashi Shop model kit. I don't know which model kit you're referring to. Patrick Leslie says, started following you because of your interview with Zaku Aurelius. Love your shop tour videos. Do you know where to find X directed by Rintaro? I cannot find it. I do not know where to find that. I apologize. Donkey says, any interest in a 3D printer for dioramas? If not, what's your method of making bits and pieces? I guess I'm kind of like vaguely interested in a 3D printer, but I don't really see myself buying one. And if I bought a 3D printer, it wouldn't be for model making. I have a lot of respect for the old school method of scratch building dioramas, like this awesome Ferris wheel Zaku diorama, just out of pure polystyrene and milliput and things like that. I really like the idea of just making it from scratch. That's not to take away from people who design things in 3D programs and print them out. Like if that's what you're into, that's cool. But I really like the idea of a fully analog process of just like cutting stuff up, gluing it together, all that. Senor says, have you tried any of the third-party kits coming from China? It's good to see something original from them, even if the designs are hit or miss. I've not tried any third-party kits. I'm not into bootlegs, but for the third-party original kits, I'm definitely more open to them. I just haven't tried any. Marble says, yay, live build. Thanks for coming and hanging out, Marbles. Leo says, G-O. You can make a bob-omb with that same Kirby build. That is totally correct. So for those of you who are just joining now, I made this little Kirby out of Milliput. And I totally could do a bob-omb. I think anything that's kind of simple like that, like you could do Jigglypuff, you could do Kirby, you could do a Chow from Sonic Adventure, a bob-omb. I think those would all be like great starter, like full scratch Milliput builds. Young Freud says, just popping in, love this. I hope you're well, love your videos. Thank you, Young Freud, for coming to hang out. Sano says, did you see the new Sonic movie? Some good Chow content? The new Sonic movie was fire. That movie was so good. As a Sonic Adventure fan, it's an absolute must-watch. Yeah, the IRL Chow Garden was amazing. Ragnarok says, FYI, you can use train scale 148 to 160 structures for 1144 diorama. That is true. Senor says, in fairness, bootlegs are the most affordable way to get some P-Bandai kits if you live in Europe. Import tax is crazy. That might be true. I don't know. I don't live in Europe. But I believe you. So I think this is it. It doesn't look very pretty. I just put a few little, maybe let's put like one more little piece here on this little spot here. Just to add some variance. And then I'm going to just Google really quick if I can paint Milliput before it's fully cured. Can you paint Milliput when it's soft? I'm not really seeing an answer, but I'm assuming I probably shouldn't, which bums me out because on this stream I plan on using this concrete paint and just kind of getting the whole thing going. So now I don't really know what I'm going to do. I mean, this is what we're looking at so far. Let's see, try to center it. I mean, I think the composition is looking pretty good, but I really wanted to paint it. And I think even if I bust out the hairdryer, it's not going to, I mean, it'll make it cure faster, but it's still going to take at least probably 6 hours. So I don't know what else I'm going to do. I'm trying to think. I guess I can pick my colors. I'm going to pull out all my browns. Let me check the chat here. Senor says, is texture the main thing you're looking for at this stage? I'm not really looking for texture. I'm looking for more just like geometric shape. And then once I get to the paint, I'll be looking for, the texture paint. That's when I start working on texture. But right now it's all just geometric composition. Christian says, I have that love-hate relationship with bootlegs, but they can look cool with the right amount of work. Leo says, ask DeepSeek or ChatGPT. According to them, you can once it's fully cured. Yeah, once it's cured. Considering it's an epoxy putty, it shouldn't need to air dry. I mean, Milliput definitely needs to air dry. You planning to sand it? Milliput is easy to shape and smooth out with water. Yeah, maybe I'll smooth it out a little bit. I wasn't going to sand it, and I don't know if smoothing it is even necessary because this paint is so thick. Like you can see how it's all like lumpy and bumpy. You're not going to see any of that under this paint because this paint is so thick. And the paint has a texture to it. You're probably not going to be able to see on camera, but maybe you can see. It's got this like, no, you can't really see. But it's pretty, it's like pretty thick and textured. Kind of like a putty almost. So it's going to cover that up, but maybe I'll just wet it a little bit and take one of these brushes and maybe just smooth it just in case. I'll take this one. That's a nice brush. So I'm just going to take my trusty little water bottle thing with the squirt top, and I'm just going to like squirt a tiny bit of water on the Millie Put. I think that should be enough. And then I'm just going to brush it, and it kind of just starts to like melt and smooth out on its own. And I think I missed a spot over here. I'm actually going to take it off the wood base to protect that wood base. And yeah, and after like, I don't know, maybe like 60 seconds or so of brushing the Millie Put like this, it starts to just really like soften up and kind of liquefy. You can also pre-mix it in a cup with water. Like take this, like take a little chunk off this ball and mix it up in a cup with like a tiny bit of water, and then it's going to be like a more liquidy form. But I did this when I was trying to scratch build some parts for the custom Gerber Tetra I was working on a while back that I've kind of put on hold. And it really helps things smooth out and kind of just like blend together a little bit. And I'm kind of using a mix of my finger and the paintbrush. And I don't know if you guys saw what it was like before, but you can see it's all just kind of where it was like individual little circles. It's now starting to just blend together. Let's see, where am I in the chat? I've been trying to wire up the LED kit with my PG Banshee. I did not anticipate how hard it would be to disassemble. Yeah, some kits are just really hard to disassemble. Leo says toothpaste paint. Definitely. Glove works really well in my opinion. Yeah, sometimes I use a glove with Millie Put, but sometimes it's easier to just use my fingers and just wash my hands after. Patrick Leslie says, what's the mook on your desk with Char Zaku on the cover? It's Gundam Weapon 6. The Zaku edition is really, really good. I'll flip through. I don't want to flip through it now because my hands are a little dirty, but this is a really nice one if you like Zaku builds. Mappo says, don't know if it's the same type of Millie Put, but on mine the box says will set underwater. I don't know if that means it'll set hard with paint on it though. Yeah, so putting water on it speeds up the drying process. So I think some people, if they want it to cure really quickly, they like spritz it with water. Renan Tascaro says, watching from Brazil. You helped me improve my English. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in from Brazil. That's so cool. It's really cool seeing people all over tune in. We have Brazil, Panama, Costa Rica on the chat. Nice reach. Yes, Leo. It's very cool. Eric says, will there be any tiny figures on this diorama? I'm kind of debating it. Like, I'm debating if I just put like the RX on the diorama or if I take a little 1144 from the builder's parts. I have like a bunch of them, but I'm not really that good at painting those tiny figures. So I'm like, I don't want to take away from the diorama by putting like a poorly painted figure, but I don't know, I might give it a try. Zach says, Lo-fi, secret Ellie Gundam diorama builds to relax and study too. Yes. Although there's no music in the background. I don't know how music works on these live streams. I think I would have to get like OBS set up to get some background music going, which I'll probably do if this becomes a regular thing. And Christian says, the current color of that diorama makes me hungry. I kind of want some sashimi now. It does kind of look like that, doesn't it? But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm debating if I take like plot plate strips. I don't know if you guys can see. Let's try to hold it up. And like cutting a like thin piece of plot plate along all the edges to kind of make it more like cohesive. But I think that might not be great. But actually that reminds me, I think I should, there's little gaps here. So I think I'm actually going to put some milliput in there with some water. I'm actually going to take a cup. See if I can do this on camera. So I'm going to just take like a little bit of milliput here. I'm going to put some water in there. And I'm going to really like mix this up with the brush and try to get it like really liquidy. And then I'm going to kind of paint that like extra liquidy milliput into those cracks. Yulong says, thanks for your Gundam Weapons MOOC recommendations from Suragaya, by the way. I went a little crazy. I would love to know what you bought. I don't think you can go too crazy with MOOCs. You got to build up that library. Now this is really super melty. So I'm just trying to fill up those cracks there, and then I'll probably sand it so the edge is flat. Because I want this to be one of those dioramas where it's like the wood base, you know, and then where the diorama comes up, it's like painted black on the side, and then it's just like this little slice of terrain. I always think those ones look so cool. So I want it to be as flush as possible. Gundam Weapons, Amphibious, Zaku 2, Gelgoog, Zeta 02, Char's Special Edition, 4 and a couple more. The Char's Special Edition one is amazing. That is one of my favorites. I would also recommend, it depends what kind of build you're into, but I would definitely recommend checking out the Gundam Wars series, which is actually by Model Graphics, but those ones are really, really cool. Patrick says, have you ever tried any of the Infinite Dimension in Era kits? I'm a big fan. They've been filling the 1/100 void in my heart, left empty by Bandai. I've not tried any of those. I did the RE100 of the Gundam Gerbera, and I really love that build. So I'm just trying to really fill in any gaps on the side so that I'll be able to sand all of this flush when it's hardened tomorrow. And it's starting to get a bit messy, but that's okay. Just gonna go ahead and paint that back on, kind of smooth it out. That side looks pretty good, and now I gotta do this side here. I think this side is looking like I'm gonna wanna cut off a little bit of the excess foam really carefully with my hobby knife. Just file that down slightly so it's a little bit more flush to the edge. I think I got it. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And I'll get some more putty in there. I'm going to put more putty in the cup with water. Just kind of mix that up because I think I'm going to need a little bit more of this wet, kind of gooey putty. Victory Liger says Gundam Wars is awesome. I have the Zeta one. It's just so damn good. Yeah, my hands are all messy, but I want to just bust them out right now and talk about them on the stream. The Gundam War series is amazing. They're just such cool old school builds in there. Big Simus Maximus says, are there any good MOOCs about 5-star stories kits? I'm starting myself blind on the Wave 1/100 Mirage. Wait. Is that this one? Are you talking about this Wave 1/100 Mirage? Because this kit is very rough around the edges. But look at the box art. The box art is sick. It's a little dusty. I started building this one. Gosh, these are so dusty. They were under my couch. You guys can now see dust flying around. This box art is just so sick. I started building this one in Japan, actually, and I kind of abandoned ship on it because, first of all, it's a glue together kit, so you can't really just do a snap build of it. And the sculpt had a lot to be desired. Let's just say that. Lots and lots of asymmetrical parts. Not asymmetrical, but just the left and right side of sculpts, like this didn't always match up. And so it was going to require like a lot of resculpting. But what's cool about this, sorry, I'm like out of breath from like jumping around. I believe this version of the kit comes with some different accessories that the modern version of the kit does not come with. So that's kind of cool. So I might maybe take some of those accessories and bring them to like a newer version of the kit in the future. Let's see here. Patrick says, I bought them all minus color variations. They're so good. I'm really pumped for the Nemesis. Got it on pre-order. Leah says, casually finds LED Mirage under table. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I'm surrounded by models here. Yeah, sick box art for sure, everyone. And Viximus, good luck. I wish you the best in building that. It's going to be a challenging one. Buckwild says, dang. What else is under that couch? A lot of model kits are under that couch because I ran out of shelf space. Let's see here. Putty on these edges here. Christian says the 5-star stories kit that you've just shown is a holy grail for me. Yeah, it was a holy grail for me too. And I'm really glad that I have it. When I move and get a bigger hobby room, which I'm hoping to do at some point this year, I really want to put that box on display because it's just so cool looking. Saw a video for the 1144 Knight of Gold, and it was the roughest kit I've ever seen. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, so these 5-star stories kits are from, let's see what the date is on these. Okay, so they're from 1997, but I would say the construction is, in terms of like, not construction, but just like mold quality, is worse than Bandai kits from like the early 80s, like 83, 84, which I was just not expecting. I was like, oh, it's from 1997. I'm sure it's going to be fine. Like, it's going to be on par with, like, in my head, like Bandai kits, like from around the mid 90s. But it is not. It is really rough around the edges. Leo says, well done, completed Knight of Gold kit. Looks like art. And then you open the box. And it's like mustard plastic nonsense. Yeah, definitely that. The extra work on this is the fun part, right? It can be. It can be. Yeah, I mean, I think if I was in a position where I had more free time, I think I would really enjoy doing the extra work. It's just like right now, I'm trying to stay really consistent with YouTube, trying to work on some builds for like some upcoming like model events and things like that. So I don't have the time to dive super deep into a build that needs a lot of work like that right now. Yeki Black Zero says, love 80s mechs. 80s mechs are the best. I agree. I absolutely love 80s mechs. I think that looks pretty good. Now for the next seam. I have a 124 Dunbine from 84, and it's a dream in comparison to those kits. Yeah, I've built a lot of old kits, as you guys know. And those 5-star stories kits were definitely among the roughest. Also, the Bandai limited model series. I don't know if you guys have ever built those. The worst. The worst kit I've ever built was the limited model. I think I put it into storage because I was like, I don't need this out anymore. It was from Gundam X, and it was like a brick. It was like an actual brick. The plastic pieces weren't even hollow, like hollow pieces that you snap two pieces together. It was like solid chunks of plastic. Ragnarok says it's rough being a 5-Star Stories fan outside of Japan. Yeah. 5-Star Stories does not get the love it deserves here in the States. Christian, it might be a tough build, but hey, the output would be so rewarding. Yeah, I agree with that. Oftentimes, the more challenging the build is, the more rewarding it is for sure. So I'm just filling in these last few gaps. So you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. So like on here, because it's just foam on top of the plot plate, there's like a little gap. And when I paint it, I want it to be completely seamless. So I'm filling in that gap. Like I filled in this one. And now I'm filling in, I just finished filling in this corner. And now I just need to do this last seam along that edge. And then I should be done with the milli putty. I'd love to hear what you guys are all working on. And do you guys, I know we talked about it a little bit, but like amongst you, do you guys airbrush? Do you want to get into airbrushing? Like what kind of stuff are you guys doing? Christian says, I tried to build a bootleg Zoid kit and it really tested my patience up to the point where I almost threw it away. That's rough. Leo says, my latest build has been the SRW Huckbean. I never know how to pronounce that one. Can anyone tell me how to pronounce that? The Huckbean? I know the like suit, the mech you're referring to, but I just don't know how to pronounce it. 1/100 Dom from the 1980s. That's a really cool one. Yulong, that's a really cool one. I feel like this needs more water. I really want to get into airbrushing, but getting it set up in a one-room apartment is a bit of a pain. Yeah, it is. You guys can see here, I've got this portable spray booth, and it's a pain. So like every time I airbrush, I bring it out, and then because I don't really have space, when I'm done airbrushing, I kind of have to put it back in storage, and it always makes it feel like you can't just paint whenever you want. You kind of have to like set up to paint, and then you have to tear down. Definitely jealous of people who have like a hobby room in their house that's like just for modeling, but I'm in the middle of my living room. Ragnarok, I'm working on a 1/4 scale Christina Mackenzie. I don't know who that is. Is that like a character from like an anime? Huckbean. Yeah, that's what I figured. Hucky Bean. I've never heard anybody say that. Victory Liger. Christian says, I'm a noob. All I do is just snap build, which is why I watch builders that actually build. Well, we were all noobs once. I am really excited to paint this. Try to get that extra milliput off. This side piece is going to be a little bit more challenging because of how long it is. Let's see if I can just go along that seam at the bottom there. Get a little more water in there. Mix it up. I hope I have enough milliput. I mean, if I don't, I'll figure something else out. But I think I should have just enough milliput. Mappo says, I have far too many custom projects started and abandoned because I didn't know how to continue, but I can't stop thinking about kit bashing Zaku's to make a Barbas the Monkey mobile suit. I totally know what you're talking about. Unfinished projects, I got quite a few. I think everybody who's into Gunpla has quite a few. Yuke says it's a small price to pay. Yes. She's the pilot of the NT1. Right. I'm just bad with names in general. So I have trouble remembering like anime characters' names and stuff like that. But I love War in the Pocket. That's a great OVA. The Alex is my favorite RX class Gundam. Do you have any recommends for airbrush top coat brands and types? Yeah, I really like the Vallejo top coat for acrylic, and then for the like spray cans, I would use the blue can. I think it was called Super Smooth Clear for the matte finish. That was my favorite of all of the like Mr. Hobby spray cans. There's like a smooth clear, and then I think there's like a super smooth. I like the super smooth one. All right, I just gotta focus for 1 sec to just finish this last little seam line. And then I'm gonna go wash my hands really quick and then just finish chatting it up with you guys. Let's see. There's that piece, and then this last little corner. Almost there. I think I might have a little bit too much material on this, and I may end up regretting it, but we shall see. Oh, you know what I need to do, actually? I need to cut this off. Because that would have sucked to have to file all that down. Let's see if I can actually take this putty off of here and put it along this edge. I'll get back to you guys in just a second in the chat. I just want to wrap this up. Like last few touches here. I actually think I'll use this metal tool. Actually, I can probably even use my hobby knife here to just scrape that excess off. Just gonna scrape off any excess so there's less to sand later. Will make my life a lot easier. Now I'm just going to brush this to smooth it out. And yeah, that's pretty much all the seams are taken care of. The bottom, I've got most of the excess material off. Let's see if I can actually use this to scrape excess off before it dries. That way it sits nice and flat on top of the wooden base. All right, and then I think I'm just gonna leave that out to dry right there, and I'm gonna clean up all of this excess milliput. Let's see. Have you seen the random post about a guy being second place in a Gumball tournament and you were just chilling beside him? It's how I got to know you. I have not. I don't know what you're talking about. And I also don't know how to pronounce your name. Kolanjit Maman. Maman. I don't know what you're talking about at all. Christian says, speaking of old anime, 8th MS deserves an Easy 8 2.0. The Easy 8 is awesome. I would love an Easy 8 2.0. Victory Liger says, I primarily hand paint because I don't have a spray booth for this airbrush I bought a while ago. I'm just so used to my hand painting style. I just keep learning how to make my kits look better. Victory Liger, your hand painted kits look really awesome. So I don't think there's anything wrong with hand painting. Let's see if I can clean this up, and then I'm just going to go wash my hands off with some soap and water real quick, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's see, I got paper towels here. Yeah, I really need OBS, so when I take a step away, I can put up one of those be right back little things. We have 43 people in the stream. That's crazy. That's awesome. Let's see. Leo says, yes, also a revival HGUC of the Alex. Blondie says, literally bought the HGUC Alex just for the beam rifle. We've all been there, buying a kit just for an accessory. I think this summer I'll try out some kind of airbrushing, but I'm too worried about painter's brain to do solvent paints without a really strong exhaust fan. Hey, I mean, everything I do is acrylic paint. So you do not need to use lacquers if you don't want to deal with the smell or just that, toxic chemicals are not your thing. Acrylics are totally valid. They have a little bit more of a learning curve, I've heard, but you can definitely do a lot with acrylics. Please don't say your name. Let's see. Your process reminds me of what Studio Blue Ocean does for water dioramas, except he does an outer wall of plot plate and he covers the whole foam in a layer of milliput. Might be worth a look. Yeah, definitely. I'll check that out. Studio Blue Ocean. I'll Google that so that actually I'll just take a note little here. Studio Blue Ocean. I will check that out later. Thanks for the tip. But it was on Reddit and the guy was happy about ending second place in a Gunpla tournament, and you also placed top 3. Yeah, I think that must have been GBWC 2023, where I was top 3 in the Hobbytown National. Blondie says, Lincoln Wright, paint on plastic, great channel for brush painting mecca. Yeah. Paint on plastic has some really cool stuff. Yeah, he does a lot of Machine and Krieger. See, now that I'm not showing my desk, I can move the camera back up. Buckwild found the post. You're not crazy, Colgate mom. I just saw her and everyone in the comments were flabbergasted by her being there. That's so funny. I don't spend a ton of time on Reddit, so I guess I was spared. Rowan BTS, hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, night. Hey, Rowan, thanks for coming and hanging out. I don't know what else to do on the stream because I can't paint, so I just got to let this milliput dry. So I'm probably going to wrap it up soon. Let's say I'll wrap it up at 7 o'clock my time, so that's 6 minutes. So we got 6 minutes. So if you guys want to ask me any last questions, definitely do it now. But this was really fun, and I'm really happy at the number of people that showed up. And yes, I'll definitely do a live stream again in the future. Let's put out the build here so people can see. I hope this doesn't fall. This is what we're working on. We're so happy to get to talk to you. Highly appreciated. Yeah, I mean, happy that I'm talking to you guys and that you guys showed up. I very much could have done a live stream and 2 people showed up. So it's really cool that this many people showed up and that you're all chatting. Rowan says, any tips for building Sazabi version Ka? I've never built the Sazabi version Ka, so I don't know, but my tip would be follow the instructions. That would be my tip. Tell us about the shading. Let's see. So I did pretty much shading the way I normally do. The lighting in here is really bad, so you guys can't see, but I'm going to be doing a video on this build, so I'll go in depth. But yeah, lots of different shading. And then what I did is multiple layers of weathering oil, like Mr. Weathering Oil, which you guys know I love the Mr. Weathering Oil. So I did black, stain brown, and then I think ground brown it's called. So I blended all of those together, and then I went in with some of these AK weathering pencils. And I tried that. I've never used those before, but I did some highlights and things like that. And then I actually went in at the very end and did some like extra post shading for like little effects like here on the shield. And I tried to get some like kind of like burn in effects, and I did that in a few places on the kit. So lots and lots of shading, lots of variation. And then I went ahead and matte coated it. But this is just the basic entry grade. So I didn't make any crazy like not crazy modifications. I didn't make any modifications to the kit at all. It's totally stock. Yeah, just threw some water slides on there, some shading. Actually, let's keep it right here. Guys, hit the like button. Yeah, if you guys hit the like button, that would be awesome. I know nothing about Gunplas. My friend likes them, but I just like seeing others build them. It's some sort of ASMR. Yeah, a lot of people say that. They just like watching people build. Pre-shading. Yeah, I did a little bit of pre-shading. I always do pre-shading on my kits. I did for the white colors. I did white colors. For the main body of the kit that's white, I did gray, like a medium gray, a darkish medium gray. For the blue, I did a really dark purple. And for the red, I also did a dark purple. And then for the yellow, I did like an orangey red for the pre-shading. What's the best Gundam and why is it side operation of the Xeon? This comment brought to you by the Kondo gang. I agree, Blondie. I think Kondo and Kobayashi are my favorite designers of Gundam, like by far. TV Saul says, when is the next stream? I don't know. I didn't have this. I did this kind of spontaneously. I don't really have plans for a future stream, but if you guys liked it, oh, thank you, King of Games. Thank you so much for the super. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I guess I probably should do another stream, right? You guys seem to be into it. Yeah, if you guys want to like come into join the Discord or something like that, maybe I'll get like a poll going on in Discord, or maybe I'll do a poll here on YouTube. I'll figure it out. But I'd love to hear your opinions on like what you'd like to see me do on live streams, if it's like snap builds, or I can't really do airbrushing because the airbrush I think is like a little bit too loud. But I can do hand painting, I can do snap building, I can play video games. We can look at like Hobby Japan magazines together. Like I'm down to just chill and chat with you guys and kind of answer your questions. Have you started with Gunplas right away or with something like airplanes? I started out with Gunpla. I've actually never built airplane or tank model kit. I've only, I think when I was a little kid, I think I might have built a car with my dad, but I don't really remember it. I think he mostly built it and I kind of watched. One more question. What is the best Gundam series for you? G Gundam all the way. Love G Gundam. Leo says, how labor intensive is it to complete the whole kit with this type of shading? It's pretty labor intensive, honestly, not going to lie. But the shading itself, the airbrushing is not the labor intensive part. It's all the weathering that I'm doing. It's like all the Mr. Weathering oils and then like that additional icing on the cake. That's what takes up a lot of time. Airbrushing the kit, I actually did it in like a day and a half. Avery says, just wanted to say I just discovered your channel recently and you're super talented. Thank you so much, Avery. And thanks for coming to hang out and chat. Vixen says, it was a fun time. Sano says, come join the Discord. We rock. Yes, definitely come join the Discord. Victory Liger, I'd actually like to see a stream on those Hobby Japans. That would be super fun. Would anybody be into that besides me and Victory Liger? Definitely let me know in the chat. Because I would love to show off my Hobby Japan, or not just like Hobby Japan, but all my Japanese modeling magazines, like my library. I'd love to share that on stream. I'm super passionate about those. Buckwild says, Discord link in the video description. Yes, it's in the video description. Cool stream would be some gaming content. Yeah, I would definitely love to stream some games. And I have a huge, just like Gunpla, I have a huge backlog of video games I need to play. And I think streaming would be a great way for me to sort of like start working through some of that gaming backlog, King of Games, yeah, Hobby Japan and other magazines. And Leah says, I'd like to see that stream, spend hours with them in the Japanese store. Yes, for sure. Hobby Japan and bring back Read the Manual with Me, a live stream to fall asleep to. That sounds like a lot of fun. And Christian says, yes, please. Yeah, so it's, I think it's about time. This has been super fun. Thank you guys all for hanging out. Thank you again, King of Games, for the super chat. Definitely like the video. And yeah, come hang out in Discord. And hopefully we'll do this again soon. All right. Bye, everyone.